What's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. I'm obviously much more buff than he is.
He is my bicep.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. I'm here with Brian.
Howdy.
I feel like you haven't been in a video in so long.
It's been so long.
We haven't done one just like talking about some stuff, which it's always fun. So I figured it would be kind of a cool video where, well, first off, I just want to say we both just got done with Brian's first CrossFit video, our CrossFit workout, and that video will be out soon. So I'm really excited about that.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good workout.
Seriously.
But I wanted to make a video where, because I always like just talking with Brian, and we both have had some like really, you know, we've dealt with adversity. Obviously me with my being obese, but Brian actually used to have really, really, really bad acne, and I know that sounds really terrible the way I said it, but like seriously,
it's true,
like
though.
it was very much like a huge hindrance, you know, and something that he had to struggle with in his life. So we kind of have that in common. So I thought it would be cool to kind of make a video where it's always cool when you guys are able to relate with us. So I just kind of want to talk about, you know, literally like the worst day you had dealing with X. So obviously acne, and then me dealing with my obesity. So if you want to start, it'd be great. Or if you want to introduce yourself maybe or whatever.
Definitely. Well, also, I just want to point out that the reason we're talking about this kind of stuff, at least in my opinion, is when I was in this kind of a place in my life, I felt very like lonely because there was nobody that could relate with me in my school. So just hearing somebody else talk about something that maybe you are directly dealing with right now, it'll make you feel less alone. So I feel like it's a good thing. But anyway, so my worst day basically with acne, I was in high school at the time, and to explain how my acne was looking, I'd have a minimum of 4 to 5 cysts, which are like big marble. Imagine a marble under your skin, right? Like not whiteheads, like the big pressurized ones, and then on top of that, whiteheads, and then tons of blackheads in the forehead. So I was just really severe acne, and just hearing it all the time. But at the same time, kind of just used to it.
Like imagine being in high school and like
it was rough.
Dealing with like, obviously I don't know, like being obese, some people could say like I can't imagine that, but like dealing with like really bad acne, like when I have a few things I'm like, oh, I don't want to be in video right now, you know. But,
right. Well, and then too, like kids have no idea of being correct or politically correct or like any sort of perspective of how terrible that is, and then they're just like, oh, look at those big marks on your face. Anyway, so like I was kind of dealing with it all the time and stuff, but this specific day I remember there was a few events that just kind of cascaded and made it like a domino effect. That day there was a speech I had to do specifically in my English class, and I had this big one pop up on my nose the night before. Wake up, go to the mirror, and I'm just like, it's gonna be one of those days, right? Like, awesome, man, right in the center of your attention. Yeah. And obviously also because it's on your nose, it's more red because it's thinner skin.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks really tight, like it's gonna explode and stuff. Like, so I went to this speech, and I remember I could hear, like, this is so specific, I could hear people whispering about it before I start my speech. So you're trying to like hype yourself up because it's embarrassing in the first place to talk in front of 50 people if you're not used to it. So you're like, all right, you're cool, you have like good stuff to say, you're prepared, but then you already hear people being like, oh dude, look at that thing on his nose, man, it's gonna hit you in the front row, like stuff like that, and you're like, I don't even care what you guys think about my speech anymore, I just want to get it done and go sit back down. Like totally sucked, dude. But you know, I just forced it through, and then if that was the only thing that day, I would have just been like, all right, that kind of sucked, we got through it. But then I remember one of my best friends at the time, the main group I'd go to after that class when we had a break, he came up to me and immediately, probably just didn't think of it, you know, I can't really blame it to him because he probably just didn't have perspective like I've been saying, but he just came up and was just like, oh dude, reindeer today, boom, Rudolph, and hit me, like physically hit, like, I feel like it's so crazy to actually touch somebody's zit. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to do that. It just like, I don't know,
it's gonna make it worse, obviously, and stuff. I don't know, so he hit it and I was just like, why? Yeah, man. Like these are the people I go to for like solace after I deal with things that kind of suck and stuff. So those two events really just, they just kind of sucked that day, and I already had in the back of my mind, you know. Exactly, I was gonna say, like, you're dealing with this acne all the time, every day. So it's always like something that you're trying to be positive about. Obviously you want to like be positive, but it's always like, you know, there's times right before you go to sleep or something you might think about it, and it's just like, yeah, right, yeah, exactly. Like you're right before bed and you're like thinking about it, and then you're like, nope, it's okay though. You can deal with it. You can deal with it. So you just keep saying, you can deal with it, you can do it. And then there's times like this where you get these things that just like are so cascading, and it happens all at once, and it just like overwhelms you. I remember that was the only time, especially at this time too in my life, I was like, I don't cry, I'm macho. That was the only time in like so many years I had cried, but especially I had never ever cried about acne because I was just like, no, man, no matter what
There's
I
worse
got.
things in life to deal with.
Exactly, man. And that's so true, man. Perspective can make any one thing just as pivotal and terrible and overwhelming as any other thing, man. And I know some people are like, yo, it's not the same. Like, this is much more obviously worse. But for each person, seriously, you can microscope so hard that it becomes your whole world.
Yeah.
I remember I went to my car and I just cried it out, man.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, what did you cry right there, or
no?
Like, what, you know what I mean?
I just pretended like it was funny. I was like, yeah, I know, right, Rudolph, dude, like, crazy. Look at it, look at it, look at it. But you know, you're just saying that in the face because you don't want to admit it to someone who obviously doesn't care. You know, like how embarrassing would that be? Like you start crying and then the person's like, doesn't, you know, they don't care.
Dude, whatever.
Yeah, what are you gonna cry about it, dude? You're such a crybaby, you know. So I just like, it was cool all the way through school. Last period, got done, went to my car. Wasn't even like thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get to my car so I can cry. I just like sat in my car and then I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what was all that today? And then I just went through each event and I was just like, damn, man. So that was definitely the worst experience I've had with acne. And that was probably one of the worst times I had acne too. Like my acne was the most severe as well. So yeah, it was rough, man. I'm all tearing up.
Man,
like, oh,
that's I couldn't like, seriously, like I couldn't imagine that. Like I couldn't even put myself in that spot, you know, because like I feel like if I was in high school and I for some reason got like terrible acne one day, I would just be like, I don't want to go to high school.
Yeah,
you know,
and so many people are like that, man.
Like
that stuff sticks with you. It makes you stronger in the end.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Right?
It's very true. So I guess I'll tell my story now. So my story, I kind of want to give a little bit of backstory so my story makes a little bit more sense. So when I was a kid, I played flag football for like, it literally as soon as you could start playing to as long as you could play until you stopped, right?
So fun.
And I always wanted to play tackle football, but they have a weight limit and I was always over that weight limit, so I couldn't play.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I couldn't play tackle football, or like it's called Pee Wee, so I couldn't play that, and that like really sucked. But at the same time, we couldn't really afford it, so it would have been a stretch to try and do it. So it was kind of good that I couldn't play because my mom would have wanted me to, but there was just no way for me to play. So
it would have been rough.
You know, I'm literally like, I got MVP awards and I wasn't even like a quarterback or anything. Like I got MVP of my team for being a defensive back and the center. Like that doesn't happen, you know what I mean? So I loved football. Yeah. 100%. And this is American football, if like, you know, not soccer, this is American football. So, you know, I get into high school and obviously there's football teams, they're free to join and there's no weight limit, you know? So I was like so freaking excited, you know? And obviously, you know, this is a story about my weight. So I had been overweight and stuff like that. And I remember, so I go to the first practice, and my first practice ever, super freaking excited, like literally like pumped. This is like, I've been waiting years for this, like years and years and years.
Yeah, real football.
Yeah, like I couldn't wait. Like I couldn't wait. So I get there and like I'm excited. I'm super freaking nervous though, you know what I mean? Because all these other kids, like they're seniors and they've been playing for years or whatever.
You don't know everybody.
And so I'm like super nervous. And the first thing that they do is they do a 400-meter run or a quarter-mile run. But what they do is they put the biggest dudes or like the linemen and stuff in the front, so you have to keep the pace. And obviously I couldn't even run a quarter mile. I couldn't do it. So as we start the run, I'm already falling behind. Everyone's passing me, and as everyone's passing me, they're just saying stuff, you know what I mean? And like, normally when I was a kid and when I was in high school, I was like the class clown that was able to make fun of myself and like before anyone could. But I was in this situation where I didn't know any of the people, so I was uncomfortable. So I'm not making fun of myself because I'm like, I feel so like out of my element.
Absolutely.
So I couldn't do that thing where I just made fun of myself and like, you know, I was able to kind of really like, you know, deflect anything, you know. I wasn't able to do that, so I just had to deal with it. And I had never dealt with that. I was always able to just make fun of myself, get it over with, and then, you know, go home and really, you know, it didn't work. It's not a good thing to do, but that's how I dealt with things.
Yeah,
so
coping.
You know, there's people making fun of me, and then we do like our outside drills, you know, running, sprinting, whatever. I do terrible, but like I tried my hardest and I was happy with what I was able to do, right? But then after that, we go into the weight room, and this is literally the first time that I had ever been in a weight room in my entire life. And I remember being like freaking so nervous, like because they just threw you under it. They're like, all right, squat. And I've never squatted ever. And they had 135 on the bar. Dude, I went under the bar and literally like it hurt so bad because I didn't know how to, you know, I didn't know how to do a squat. I didn't know how to keep it on. I was like on my neck, dude, and like literally like all the weight was here, and I'm like literally like it hurt so bad, and they're just making fun of me, like, dude, you're the biggest dude here, because I was literally the biggest dude. I was the biggest person on the field and in the weight room. and they were all just making fun of me. Like literally, like I had never dealt with anything like that. I had never dealt with
that
just direct ridicule and not being able to deflect it at all. I just had to take it, and I couldn't handle it, man.
Yeah.
So like we do that, and then we do like hex bar deadlifts, and I literally couldn't even get a position because I had no mobility to like actually bend down. So they're like, oh, keep your butt down, and I couldn't. Like I just physically could not do the movement, and it was so. Obviously, I'm frustrated with the fact that I suck at this, and then I'm getting all of these people just making fun of me because they think that I'm supposed to be strong because I'm like the fattest guy there, you know, the biggest dude there or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I remember like I couldn't handle it anymore. So I literally like I started tearing up, right? And like there's no way I'm gonna let those dudes see me tear.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So I get done with my set, if you want to even call it that, and then I go into like the locker room and I start like kind of tearing up, crying, and then I decide like this is like my biggest regret in high school, but I decide that I'm gonna leave. Like I'm not gonna play football, you know, whatever. So like I wipe my tears and I go up to the coaches. They're like, they have like this like overlook thing, right? And I hey, you know, and they look down like, hey, I made up a lie. So I said like, my mom really needs me. She's sick. She needs me to go. So I just tried to make up a lie so I could leave at that exact moment and not have to go back. You know what I mean? And so sickness is usually, I guess, the best way to. So that's just what I did. It's hopefully nothing happens to my mom because I would feel terrible. But so I tell them that, and like literally I walk home crying.
That sucks.
Just like, and like I had never dealt with that, and like I think that really led me into doing the thing that I did where just making fun of myself was what I did. So I never had to feel like that again, because like it's true though, and it's terrible, but like if you make fun of yourself, people aren't gonna make fun of you. But at the same, like I always say, it's not a good option, because then you start to believe all these things you're making. Oh, I'm fat. Oh, I'm just the guy that does this, you know. And then so you start to believe those things. But it's literally like my biggest regret in high school is not playing football, and not even because like I wanted to play football so bad, because obviously I did, but like the fact that I let those freaking stupid kids like literally dictate what I did with my life in high school. And it was just like I literally like, my mom was like, why are you already home? And I was just like tearing up. I was like, I don't want to play football. And like I'm sure she knew exactly what happened, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I don't want to play, it was too hard or whatever, you know. And it was just like, I just remember being like, why are these people so mean, you know? And like, you know, I'd see them in the hallway and they didn't even think of anything of it. Dude. You know what I mean? It's not like they thought like, oh, we ruined his whole football career because we were jerks. And like, I get that, like, I shouldn't have let them dictate my life, but like, you're in 9th grade, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to get made fun of, so you're not gonna put yourself in that situation again. But like, it's one of those things that I wish I could like have the mindset I do now and go back and be like, dude, just do it, man. Like, screw those people, because I know where they are now in life, and they're not doing very well.
It's so hard because that's all that's going on in the younger part of your life.
That's like everything.
And one thing, two things, that's it. You don't have all this other stuff to be like, that's nice that this group sucks, because I'm gonna just go to this gym and that grocery store and whatever. It becomes so, it's crazy, dude. And it sucks because those people had no more value than you at that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you were just high school kids.
Yeah, they weren't professionals or have some sort of like grade to talk at you with any critique. And they, like you said, they don't even know what they did to you. And that's crazy that people would do that and not realize that they're like scarring people for life, man. I don't know, man. And like, I didn't get over that whole acne thing for like a couple years afterwards. It sticks with you, dude.
Yeah, it does. So, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to say there's like a moral to this story, but like, you know, just be kind to people. Like, you never know.
Just be aware.
You never know what someone's going through. That's why it's like, you know, if someone's being, like, I always used to think this when I worked retail, like, if someone's being really terrible to you, just try not to be terrible back, because you don't know what that person's going through like in that day. And it's freaking hard, because like if someone's being terrible to you, you want to be like, screw you too, you know what I mean? But like, you never know what someone's going through, or like how hard their life is. And so I don't know, I just kind of wanted to film a video and like, you know, talk about the things that we've been through. Do you have anything you want to say to close it out?
No, man, like I said in the early part of the video, I think being transparent just helps so much, because other people can relate, and then that's it, man. You just feel not alone. And that helped me so much. So I hope that this helped you guys too. Like, I'm always open to talk about stuff that I've gone through, because I think it really is valuable. Yeah.
So that's gonna be the video, guys. If you guys aren't subscribed to Brian or whatever, everything will be in the link down in the description. But again, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that Brian wanted to say. What was it?
Look how buff I am!
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.